We are back again with another video. Now in this video, we will be asking a very peculiar question that's put forward by most of the students. Be it the ones who come for the inquiry or the ones who would be just here students. Now what happens is, a very peculiar question that is asked is, how is it that we can learn English and get fluency? There are many tips that you might have got from lot of videos. Here, just to add on a little bit, few things that you have to keep in mind. First and foremost, you have to understand that as a learner, you should be making a lot of mistakes. Don't worry about the mistakes, but always give it a try. Speaking in English would definitely help you. Now what you need to do is, the first and the foremost is start thinking in English. Now for the people who do not have any base of English, what they can do is, they can start with making short sentences. Now what happens over here is, you can just add certain words. Like if I have a sentence in Hindi, मुझे English सीखनी है. Now when we talk about, you have a particular subject over here, मुझे, that is I, this much everyone knows, right? Seekhna is learn, right? English is an easy word, that again is a subject, which is, we talk about I learn English. Now this is wrong, right, grammatically, but at least you've got the crux of it, how to get it. As a trainer, as a teacher, or any tutorials can help you to get the word I have to learn English. So when 60% of the sentence is done, the other 40 can be done later. That will give you a start. Next thing, which is very important for you to understand, is that you need to be a good listener. Many a times what happens that we are in haste to grab things, but then what happens is everything collapses. Why? Because we are not a good listener. So in order to learn good English, you have to be a good listener also. Whatever your teacher, your trainer, or your tutorials are telling you or teaching you, you have to follow that. Next, what you have to do is have a good foundation. Start talking to yourself in English. It's very important, because when people need to come up, they have to overcome the learning curve. They are a bit hesitant. They feel, they have the fear that people will just laugh upon us. We could be a source of mockery for each and everyone. Need not worry about it. That is perfectly all right. So what you need to do is that you consider yourself as your best friend and think how you can learn. So in that case, to learn further, start talking to yourself and be into a process of translating from Hindi into English. We all know that we are native speakers of Hindi. That is the reason the whole thought process is in Hindi. But it's high time we realize that today English, which is the global language, has a very important relevance in our life. No matter how well qualified you are, but you will not be able to make it a success if you do not have spoken English skills. We have students who are MBAs, who have big degrees, but still they have not been able to crack the interview. That is wherein they really have a setback and they're not able to think what to do further. That is when they have to come back to us and proceed with their language classes. So here, we need to start from the very beginning. Start thinking in English, and how you could do that, need to translate sentences. Whenever you talk to people, come back to yourself, introspect, see what is it that is lacking in me. How do I need to overcome that? That is something which will help you. So just you need to do is practice a lot. Now first thing which I said is, it's very important that you make mistakes. Do not be hesitant of making mistakes. If you will not make mistakes, you will not be able to rectify them. If you will not be able to rectify your mistakes, you will not be a good learner of spoken English. So make sure that you first start, whether wrong, but yes, give it a start. Think in English. Once you start thinking in English, the thought process becomes smoother. Generally what happens, as a native speaker of Hindi, we will think in Hindi, translate in English, and then execute. That execution takes a lot of time. But when you start thinking in English, that gradually dwindles your execution time, and that is when we start grasping, and that is when we come in our fluency. Again, I would say that follow all the tips which are provided to you, right? Give time to yourself, be a good listener, You can make mistakes, that's perfectly all right. People always learn through their mistakes, right? At the same time, you need to practice a lot. The more you practice, the better for you. One more good thing that you can do is start reading the newspaper. Many a times you might find it difficult, but that's okay. Constant reading will give you that particular mode of switching into English. So that will help you a lot. Try and listen to English videos, English documentaries, or very basic English songs. So you need to create an environment for yourself wherein most of the time you're talking in English, you're thinking in English, you're conversing with people in English. Make sure that you do these things and you would see a change in yourself. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible provided you make it possible, right? So as very well said, impossible itself says, I am possible. So today is the day. Let's start. Make it possible for yourself. English is the easiest language in the world. And that is the reason globally it is accepted as the global language. So it's not far from you to go grab it. And I'm sure you would be able to do that. All the very best to each and everyone out there. Thank you.